So much worse. It is what it is, folks. The lighting. Why am I coming to you in such a discombobulated state? Because, number one, it's the first day of my cycle. Thank you. And number two, I just got a very important book in from the library. So this video is not sponsored, but if it was, it would be sponsored by Libby because let me not wax poetic too much about how much Libby has changed my life. Libby is a digital library. So your local libraries will use Libby to grant you access to their digital collection. So your experience with the Libby app is kind of based on your local library. You need a library card. So for me, I use the San Diego County Library, which is, oh my God, such a great library. San Diego County Library. I love you. And when my card expires, you best believe I will be calling my old neighbors, my friends. I will still have access to your catalog. You'll never get rid of me. And then I also use the Free Library of Philadelphia because that's where my parents live, and they can rip that library card from my cold dead hands as well because I'm never giving that up either. Libby is wonderful. Support your local libraries. I will leave some resources down below. Libby on their Instagram and things like that have been posting a lot of resources in terms of how to support your local libraries, especially right now with what's going on, especially in the US. More important than ever to love your library. And it doesn't mean that you need to somehow like financially support them, whatever. Literally putting a book on hold, checking a book out. That shows the demand and patronage of a library, and it's very important. So literally just go check out a book today. Go check out a book. But anyway, Libby, yes, let me actually move just slightly because the sun is actually really warm. I don't know what's going on. Okay, somehow I feel like the sun is worse. Anyway, we're just gonna roll with this. I'm gonna talk quickly then. Libby gifted me with a beauty last night. I woke up covered in night sweats, having a rough night, and I checked my phone because I don't care about my mental health, and I saw a notification that my copy of The Gifted and Talented by Olivie Blake herself came in. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight, but I have been reading Theft by, I believe it's Abdul Razak Gurna. Quite interesting. It's a kind of family drama that takes place in Tanzania in the 1980s, which is a setting I have never read about, so that's quite cool. Really easy to read, less than 300 pages. I will likely finish that tonight. But what I'm starting right now and why I have come to you in this frantic state, because I didn't have time to set up my camera, I need to read this right now. Gifted and Talented. And I wanted to just do a little live reading reaction with you because I enjoy those. I like looking back on my first impressions of books and then seeing how that changes minute by minute, honestly. Let me tell you what it's about. I honestly don't know anything except Llama. She is the Book Esquire on TikTok. She did say something. She's reading it. And she didn't spoil it, but like I know one tiny detail from her. So, but other than that, I know zero. Goodreads, Gifted and Talented. It has 350 ratings. It's sitting at 4.03. Okay, here we go. Here's my reading. From the New York Times bestselling author of the Atlas Six comes the story of three siblings who, upon the death of their father, are forced to reckon with their long festering rivalries, dangerous abilities, and the crushing weight of all their unrealized adolescent potential. Oh no. Where there's a will, there's a war. Oh? Thayer Wren, the brilliant CEO of Ren Fair Magitech and so-called father of modern technology, is dead. Any one of his three telepathically and electrokinetically gifted children would be a plausible inheritor to the Ren Fair throne. At least, so they think. Meredith, textbook accomplished eldest sister and the head of her own groundbreaking biotech company, has recently cured mental illness. You're welcome. What am I reading? If only her father's fortune wasn't her last hope for keeping her journalist ex-boyfriend from exposing what she really is. A total fraud. Wait, Meredith. Oh no. Next we have Arthur, second youngest congressman in history, fights the good fight every day of his life. And yet, His wife might be leaving him, and he's losing his re-election campaign. But his dead father's approval in the form of a seat on the Ren Fair throne might just turn his sinking ship around. Ailey, once the world's most famous ballerina, has spent the last 5 years as a run-of-the-mill marketing executive at her father's company after a life-altering injury put an end to her prodigious career. She might be lacking in accolades compared to her siblings, but if her father left her everything, it would finally validate her worth by confirming she's been his favorite all along. On the pipeline of gifted kid to clinically depressed adult, nobody wins. But which Ren will come out on top? What the heck? So, all right, this is going to be interesting because I don't always love reading about older people fighting for daddy's money. Like, I just read The Inheritance, which was just sort of annoying because it was like, these are middle-aged or like, you know, 30s to 40s people. I'm in my 30s, by my way. Also, the dedication says for my family, LOL. I'm sort of like, get it together, guys. Like, you are too old to be so obsessed with your family's money. And I have a very difficult time empathizing with people. Trust fund. If you've got a trust fund, you just don't get any empathy from me. It's just sort of how the cards fall, I suppose. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see how I'm gonna feel. This is 512 pages. It came out 2 days ago. Thank you to my library. I will read you the first couple sentences. Oh no, she's doing the sentences that are an entire page. I love you. I love you, Olivie Blake. But let me just give you an insight to my experience with Olivie Blake. One for My Enemy is one of my favorite books. Like, I think it was a timing thing. I don't know, but something in that book just hit me. The Atlas 6 was so close to being there. Like, I love her writing, but it is so hit or miss for me. So the Atlas 6 was a miss. One for My Enemy was an extreme hit. Then I read Masters of Death, and I think I need to read it again because on the first read, I didn't like it because she does this thing where she... I think the one example I read out loud, she's talking about a guy is sitting down and then he stands up. That sentence describing that action of like Joe walks in and Bob stands up, that description was an entire page because she does this thing, which you will see in this first sentence, where she's kind of like, she writes how I speak, right? Like never exactly finishing a sentence. Like you have to go off on all of these little tangents before you get to the final thing, which a part of me is like, I get it, girl. Yes, like you write the way that I think and speak, but it's almost like, no, but my brain does this by itself. I need you to focus, girl. Like I need you to find it in you to write a sentence that isn't a million words long. But, you know, again, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see if this one hits. But just warning you, if I sound like I'm struggling to read this out loud, it's because this is a blind reading and she goes on a lot of tangents. Let's just go. All right. Meredith Wren, a fucking asshole. Not that it matters at this stage of the narrative, but it's worth pointing out, sat blinded by the overhead lights from the stage, squinting unflatteringly into a brand new, state-of-the-art auditorium that had just been completed on Tyke's unethically verdant campus. Too large a venue for an event of this nature, which would responsibly be attended by only the most ardent of nerds. Well, them and anyone who stood to gain from her success financially, a forum of dorks and despots. As her eyes adjusted to the masses bearing witness to her greatness, Meredith saw nothing but the pockets of empty seats. Jesus Christ, she thought, and wondered if the squinting was worsening her burgeoning crow feet. Blinking, she made a concerted effort to simply go blind. She became aware of something. A sty, most likely. Oh God, a sty? She hadn't had one of those since her early college days, back when she still had the balls to fall into bed with makeup on, recklessly. She was meticulous now with her skincare ritual. How was it possible she could accumulate grime at this stage of her life? At this great age? How could she succumb to something so pedestrian as a sty? She blinked and wanted desperately to lie down, to eat a whole sleeve of pistachio macarons, to gorge herself from bed and never rise again. Just kidding. Ha. What? Olivie, what are you saying? She literally wrote, just kidding, ha. Okay, we're doomed. I don't know what I don't know what. But I just wanted to talk to you before it happened. And I will give you updates. And I'm going to go drink some ice water because why is it so toasty? I was just so cold outside. Yeah, thank you always for being here. I've got some other great books. Shall we just, some things I want to try and read. I have The Lost House by Melissa Larson. It's a thriller. I checked and it doesn't seem to have the best reviews, so I'm not sure if I'm going to actually continue that. I also have The Starving Saints, which I believe is an ARC. It's not out yet. By Caitlin Starling, which just looks weird, and I love a good like Catholic thing, I also need to read Junie by Erin Cosby Eckstein. I have The Arc of Endling by Maria Reva. I also have, and this one I'm like scared to read, okay? I also have The Arc of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil on my e-reader right now, in my hands. I have it. And I'm scared to touch it. I'm so excited, but I'm so scared. So that also might be read this week. However, one thing that I want to get through my library books so that I can dive into a book I purchased, which is the final book in the Little Thieves trilogy. I love Little Thieves to the point where I actually didn't read the sequel because I knew I was gonna die if I read the sequel and I didn't have the third book ready. So I stopped at the first book and I waited a year for this last book to come out. It came out 2 days ago. Yeah, I'm gonna read Little Thieves as a reread, and then I have Painted Devils and then Holy Terrors. It's just, I just remember it being so funny, laugh out loud funny. And I need that right now. And I just got through reading a couple series all the way through, and just reading that massive amount in the same world, like the Legendborn series, that was like over 1,000 pages of being with Bree and Nick and Sel and William and all these people. And then I just read The Sword Catcher and the Rag Picker King, and again that was like 1,200 pages of being with those characters in that world. So I just really want to be in a world. And I love the Little Thieves characters. So that's also what we're aiming for. I'm obviously not going to get to all of these in the week that I have, but we'll try. And we're going to try with Gifted and Talented right now. And I literally have to read that first page over again because I have no idea what I read. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be Masters of Death-y, and I'm going to be like rereading sentences because I'm going to get lost by the time we reach the end. But we love. This is also categorized as, according to Goodreads, fantasy, fiction, adult, contemporary, science fiction, urban fantasy, paranormal, magic, science fiction, fantasy. Okay, Goodreads. All right. I'm going to read, and I'm going to talk to you guys in a little bit. I'm so happy you're here. I hope you're doing well. Grab a water, have a sip, have a drink, pause this, get some water. Okay? See ya. Like, look at this sentence. This is one sentence, and it's such... It makes sense, and it's fun, and I like it. I get, like, this one is, I get it, but like the whole book reads like this. So you've got to be locked in. Oh no, I'm 10% of the way in, 50 pages. Took me a long time to get there. I'm so interested in what's going on, but also I'm gonna have to put this book down for a sec because it's like reading your own racing thoughts. Like, there's just, again, those really long sentences, like, it's just a lot. And it's not something that I can read. Usually I'll read like 100 pages at a time of books. Like, just, I like reading huge chunks. I'm not very good at reading in short bursts. But I feel like this book, just mentally, I'm gonna put it down. So I got to, at 10% is when we get kind of like a message from the narrator, essentially. And I feel like that's a good time to pause. But we have just found out that their father has died. I don't know, man. But yeah, all I can think about is that I've got to take out the trash and I want to take a shower. So I'm not really focusing as much. My brain isn't letting me focus as much as it needs to. I will catch up with you maybe later tonight. I'm not sure. But this is very Masters of Death, but not like only in the writing style, if that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Catch you in a bit. Okay. It's the next morning. What a morning it's already been, to be honest. It is the 4th of April, an hour ago, just impeached our president, which if not gonna go into it, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing, we're all happy. I needed to watch the news and make sure it was a unanimous vote, because that would have been really embarrassing if it wasn't unanimous. Anyway, so I thought I was gonna read a little this morning and I was just too distracted. So I am at 26%. I actually read quite a bit last night. And when I stopped, it goes 10%, and then you get a note from God. Our narrator basically takes a little sidestep and talks directly to us, even though they're talking to us the entire time. Anyway, so I kind of stopped after that first note from God, and then I continued, got dinner, took a shower, whatever, and then did my nighttime reading, and I read 15 more %. It got a lot better. The rambly introductions that we get to these characters was, like I said, overwhelming. Felt like my own racing thoughts. I didn't like being in my head without being in my head, you know? It was like pouring faster moving thoughts into my already racing river of a mind, you know? So, but it got a lot better. It's still that style, but a touch slower, okay? We're learning more about their powers. And Olivie Blake, if this is why you wrote this book, it would make me laugh so hard. So basically, how do I talk about this responsibly? Conspiracy theories. In this house, I think they lead to dangerous things. So this is not me supporting, promoting, doing anything with these conspiracy theories, okay? But I think this one is funny to talk about in the context of this book. So basically, this book is called Gifted and Talented. And in the US, I know they have them in other countries, but I'm specifically talking about the US. At least when I was growing up as a child of the 90s, we had programs that at my school, they were called GATE, which is Gifted and Talented Education. And basically it was in like 3rd or 2nd grade. You would be given a test. There weren't correct answers. They were more of trying to see how you think, how you approach solving a problem. So they would be like, how would you categorize these things? And it was like a firefighter, a truck, a cat, and a teapot, or something. Like, no right answer, right? But just like, what would you do? I didn't get in, that's fine. But for the kids who did get into GATE, they would be pulled out of the classroom like once or twice a week for maybe 30 minutes to an hour of some other kind of class. Usually it was very hands-on, like experiments, like building a bridge out of toothpicks to see which one stay, you know, that kind of thing. So whatever. Okay, there is a conspiracy theory that I don't support, but it's essentially that program was run by the CIA to find children with particular talents. And so right about there, I'm with you. Honestly, like in post 9/11 America, yeah, we were doing bonkers shit. Like, I would believe that if we were looking for kids that tested in ways that made them seem like they would be great at being spies. I don't know, like that tracks. But no. That's thinking too small, Cari. That's why you didn't get into GATE. The conspiracy theory is that it was run by the CIA to find kids who were psychic. Kids who had telepathic powers. And tell me why Olivie Blake wrote a book about people with telepathic powers and she named it Gifted and Talented. Olivie, what are you doing? Anyway, I'm kind of into it. I haven't watched White Lotus, but I feel like if you like those kind of shows where it is just toxic people, specifically toxic like family members dealing with each other, that's the vibe that I'm getting from this. It's not my particularly favorite kind of story to read, but I'm interested, and I don't know where this could possibly go because we're at almost 30% of this book. They've just realized that their dad died, and like, now what? Like, I have no idea where this plot could go, but I'm excited. So I'm gonna read for a little bit, and then we're actually heading to the park because I'm meeting up with an author friend. She's a friend of a friend, and they connected us. And so that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna get to talk books with a bookish person and relax from the events of this morning. So yeah, I will update you soon, but so far so good. And yeah, please don't go deep diving into any of those conspiracy theories. Or if you do, just keep one foot in reality, okay? Promise me that, all right? See ya. Hello, a quick check-in. from 60%. I read a lot last night. I read a lot this morning / this afternoon, coming at you from an extremely rainy day. All of the cherry blossoms came out literally yesterday. And now it's raining. What a rough spring we've had. So I'm digging this, but I cannot tell you why. Kind of like I said, we're only if you're okay with reading about really toxic families, just like characters that are toxic and strange and with like a sprinkling of magic in it. Honestly, I keep forgetting that there's magic, and then it will come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's weird. He can like manipulate electricity. I really like it. The first, like I said, that first 10% was rough, but now I am fully invested. And I wrote down, actually, she just goes on these tiny, they're not even tangents, like they make complete sense within the plot, pushing the plot forward. But there are these moments where like one character is talking about her pregnancy. I can't even explain it. It's just the little bits of life that she adds into this book are so great. Here are some things that I highlighted. One of the characters is talking about hiring an assassin to kill her ex-boyfriend, and she says, "It's funny," she mused, "I don't really want to kill him, but at the same time, I feel like he'll respect me less if I don't at least try." Oh my gosh, I highlighted an entire page. How do I get to this? I highlighted an entire page because it was that good. I'm really enjoying it, but it's kind of giving me a similar feeling to, not necessarily in the writing style, but I think just in how I felt towards the characters. I think I had a little more sympathy for Sally Rooney's characters, but for example, with Intermezzo, all of those characters, I was just kind of like, yo, you guys gotta figure this out. Like, all of these messes, you've gotta figure it out. And you were just so conscious of the writing style. That's how this book feels. I'm not explaining it well at all, but I'm really enjoying it. But this will definitely be hit or miss for some people. I think if you take Masters of Death, take out the supernatural bits, which is like a lot in Masters of Death, take out the supernatural bits and just have it be these unlikable characters. None of them are likable. I wish I had words. I'll give you an update when I finish, but I was worried there in the beginning, but I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by it. So that is Gifted and Talented. Love the narrator. Her choice of narrator is really good. I'll see you when I see you. Hi, I've been doing a pretty rotten job of checking in. I finished Gifted and Talented and I really liked it, but I can't tell you why, and I don't think everybody's gonna like it. The writing style was very similar to Masters of Death, but the actual plot, the characters might be a little similar to like an Atlas 6 kind of character, but in terms of just the premise, I feel like it's really different from anything she's ever done. I shouldn't have liked it. Like I said at the beginning, I don't care about 30-something-year-old Nepo baby Silicon Valley-esque inheritance problems. And they're all well, actually, you know what? They seem like they should be all unlikable, but you turn around, which was a surprise for me. But you know what? Each of them were dealing with something very unique, but all linking back to wanting to be loved in their own way, or like wanting to be recognized, I guess, in their own way, to be seen. And something about it, I thought her choice of narrator was clever and just fun. And yeah, I shouldn't have liked it, but I did. And I'm pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't go into this just blindly because you're an Olivia Blake fan, but I did, and I liked it. So I don't know. I would just, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. And then I just started reading this morning and I'm already at 30% because Kurt and I have had a reading day. We rode our bikes to the bookstore and he has already read, he bought The Third Body Problem and he already read the second book today. That's all we've been doing is just reading. So I'm at 30% of The Starving Saints. This is an arc. It's coming out later this year and it's about a castle, a fortress that has been under siege for 6 months and they're about to run out of food. And this isn't a spoiler, this is in the summary, but right as they're about, like right as hope has run out, suddenly they have food. And their saints that they worship, like their particular religion, the saints appear. They somehow get into the fortress that is in complete lockdown, and they appear and they bring food and they bring gifts, and everyone is like, this is exactly what we prayed for. but something feels off. And we follow 3 different women. One is the mad scientist who is supposed to create a miracle. Like, she's the one who is supposed to like fix their food problem. She managed to fix their water problem, but so she's been like locked up in a laboratory, a medieval laboratory, trying to figure out the food crisis. Then she has her bodyguard who would rather be anything but her bodyguard. She was like a war hero, but for some reason the king like won't put her into battle anymore. And then we have this girl who we don't know much about, but she has some weird history with the bodyguard and she wants revenge, but I feel like there's a little romance there, and I just know it's gonna get messy. There are nuns and saints, and that's all I really ask for. So The Starving Saints, 30% of the way through. So far, so good, but I know that it's going to descend into madness, and the descent into madness is starting right now. And it's sort of like, it's one of those books where you don't know, is everyone insane or is this really happening? And I'm going to find out. But you can put that on your radar. I quite like it. So but I'm gonna just read in bed, and I'll catch you a bit later. I'm so sorry that I've had like no b-roll. Like, I've just been reading and working and doing not fun stuff. So I will do better. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye. Hello? I hope I'm in focus. If I'm not, I'm sorry, but my looks don't matter. Guys, I didn't actually think I was gonna be blurry, so I'm really sorry, but it won't be corrected. But I will try not to be blurry for the rest of the video. Sorry. I just finished The Starving Saints. How do I talk about this book? So I know that I didn't give it the kind of introduction I usually do. I didn't read the summary, but this was kooky, and I was warned that it was going to be kooky. Like, the whole idea of this is there is kind of this giant descent into madness, and so you kind of feel like you're going crazy too. Like, time starts to warp, space starts to warp, you never really get answers for certain things, and it's just overall like a really bizarre little story, and I had a really good time actually. There was a point where I was like, okay, I would like a little return to sanity, but I thought it ended well. It kind of reminded me of how I felt, don't get too excited when I say this, but the kind of like, I'm lost in the sauce but I'm enjoying it feeling that I personally got from Gideon the Ninth and Harrow the Ninth, I would say. You just don't really know what's going on, but you're just hanging on for dear life. Like I said, there are many things that don't really get answered, but I think she just captured really interesting ambiance. I started to realize that I actually couldn't picture a lot of the castle. Like, everything takes place in this castle because it's under siege. Like, we don't leave the castle. And I realized I couldn't really picture it. That kind of claustrophobic feeling kind of lent itself to the story, like what our characters were feeling. So part of it, I was like, I would have enjoyed a little bit more of an ability to picture what was going on, because I really felt like I was in a mental labyrinth. Like, and it doesn't help that some of the characters can literally walk through walls, so I was just like, I'm lost. So I would have liked to have understood it a little bit more, but I get why it was the way that it was. Not a perfect book, but gruesome and satisfying in a way. I thought it was so funny though, because this whole day, skies are blue, as you saw, the cherry blossoms are out. I was going on a walk and I would just be like, oh my goodness, look at the birds playing in the trees and the cherry blossoms are falling, and isn't this beautiful? And then I would look down at my book and it would be like, she takes a bite of his leg. So yeah, I would say this deals a lot with cannibalism a little bit, and just really a descent into insanity. So similar to Gifted and Talented, I don't think this is a book for everyone, but I feel like this, if you love just a weird medieval setting and you've got 3 people who all hate each other but love each other but hate that they love each other and are like on the verge of killing each other, at all times, but they also want to save everybody. I don't know. It was complicated and weird and fun, and I liked it. And I really wish I could describe that better. But if you are looking for, I think this comes out in July, if you're looking for a kind of gross summer, weird little summer read, I enjoyed it. That's The Starving Saints. And I'm gonna take a little break because I have some work to do. I'm actually editing up, I don't know if it's out yet, but your unpopular opinions that you sent me. I'm working on that video right now. And I will contact you when we get to our next book. I've got quite a few. I'm so scared to start Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, but maybe I should, just to continue our weird girl book. I really want to read Little Thieves, but those are 3 books back to back, and I just have so many books I need to get through, and those are books that I own. So I'm willing to, like, it's one of those books where I don't want to finish the series. Like, I don't want it to end. So I'm putting it off. But yeah, I'll catch up with you once I decide what I'm reading, and I hope you guys are doing well. And The Starving Saints. So far, Gifted and Talented and The Starving Saints, both weirdo books, but enjoyed. So great. All right, catch ya. A couple days later, and I'm here to make bad decisions with you. I have so many books out from the library. Like, all of them came in at the same time, and I'm drowning in them. But what do I want to read? What is the itch that I need to scratch right now? An arc. I want to read Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh my god. V.E. Schwab, you queen. On Goodreads, the book summary or whatever has 3 sentences. Queen shit. Okay, it has 821 ratings. It's at a 4.44. Angel numbers. And this is what it says. It says Santo Domingo de la Calzada, 1532. London, 1837. Boston, 2019. 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, and one grows wild. And all of them grow teeth. What? It is fantasy, vampires, horror fiction, LGBT, adult, queer, lesbian, historical fiction, paranormal. Guys, let me go get it so I can read you the first sentence. I'll be right back. So I have the arc, which means that some of this might change, as we've talked about before. So we start with a poem, unattributed. I believe this is by V.E. Schwab, but it starts with, bury my bones in the midnight soil, plant them shallow and water them deep, and in my place will grow a feral rose, soft red petals hiding sharp white teeth. We follow Maria. We are in Santo Domingo de la Calzada in Spain in 1521. The widow arrives on a Wednesday. Maria remembers because Wednesdays are for bathing, and her hair takes an age to dry after it's been washed and combed. She remembers because it is warm for the end of April. All right, okay, well, I get ahead of myself. It's mid-April here, but it's quite toasty. I love when books do that. Anyway, I'm gonna go out, just like Maria, to sit outside in the warm April air and read. Okay, here we go. Let me just preface, I'm a little nervous because I love V.E. Schwab, but I did not love Addie LaRue. And I feel like this with like different timelines, it might be similar to Addie LaRue and I'm a little scared. But I'm very excited and that's what's going on. So I'll catch up with you when I have thoughts. Let's go to the river. I wanna go sit by the river, so. Oh my god. V.E. Schwab, come here. Victoria, this is another woman who technically, I count her as a redhead. She loves to write about redheads. The introduction to our character, Maria, is how she is trying to dye her hair because it's apparently a bad omen. It's an angry shade of red, the hot orange of an open flame, One she cannot seem to douse. Oh no. Okay, checking in. I'm at 7%. I don't feel like I can fully give my opinion on it yet because I haven't read all 3 POVs. I've only read 2, but I'm actually really liking it. The metaphors, the similes, the imagery is just very classic V.E. Schwab, to the point where it feels a little repetitive, but not in a bad way, I don't think, yet. Our first girl really surprised me. She's writing kind of, the first character at least is kind of vicious. I feel like we don't know much about her. I feel like she's still at an arm's length, but she's a little more conniving. I don't know, I'm interested. She became something that I didn't expect her to become. And then our second girl, Alice, I feel like I get her so much. The way that she describes her anxiety and her self-esteem, the way that she is constantly thinking like, okay, today's the day I'm gonna reinvent myself and become like the cool person I think I am. Yeah, I feel like I really get Alice, and that's really nice. So, and now I'm reading Lottie, and we haven't met her officially yet. Her voices are so far quite different from Maria to Alice. Alice had a very kind of stream of consciousness, anxious, she's at a party and she's drunk and she's anxious, you know, that kind of voice. Yeah, you know what? It's good. I'm happy with it. So I might move to my next location because the breeze is breezing. I feel like I've got maybe 10 minutes left of perfect temperature. So while I am at the beginning of Lottie's POV, I'm going to take a break, move on. But all right, V.E. Schwab, all right. Hi, a quick check-in from 20%. It's still good, still enjoying it. We're getting a lot of Maria. I thought we were gonna kind of like bump back and forth between POVs. It seems like we are getting a huge chunk of Maria, who is the earliest POV, the 1500s. So I assume that's why she's gonna be like our little starter of whatever this is, right? We know that it's about vampires. So we're getting a lot of Maria, but I kind of like Maria. She's a weirdo. Also really like Alice. We've gotten like nothing of Lottie yet, but I'm very excited I feel like Lottie, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm into it. I'm really excited. I'm also just like passing the time. I'm also reading All the Beauty in the World, just like 1 chapter per day. And it's about a guard. He was a security guard for the Metropolitan Museum of Art for 10 years. And so I was expecting these to be stories about working at the museum, but it's also about the loss of his brother that inspired him to become a museum guard. And so honestly, it feels like it's giving me a little bit of the same vibes as When Breath Becomes Air, to be honest, which is like rough and not what I expected. So also reading that. But anyway, I'm gonna go wash my face and read for the rest of the night. So I will see you tomorrow. Hello, we are at 60%. Finally, we're dragging, guys, not dragging. Yeah, from about where I left you until pretty much 50%, I was pretty bored. I said that Maria is an interesting character, and I think that she could be if V.E. Schwab made us understand her as a character a little bit more. She basically just told us in the beginning that like she wants to see the world, she wants freedom, she's ambitious, she's, you know, not okay with the status quo. And then we just like never see any growth. Like she just really becomes kind of heartless. And I think that that's intentional a little bit, but like I just feel for the amount of chapters we're getting of her, I don't feel any kind of connection. I feel more connection with some of these side characters that come in and out of her life. So the major chunk of this book so far has been Maria. Alice, I still really like her POV, but it's just difficult because it was like, so these girls all turn into vampires. It's not a spoiler. When Maria goes through her like realization arc of like, oh my God, I'm a vampire. And then she starts to learn the rules, right? Right after that, then we have Alice's. And so it just felt a little repetitive and not, especially in Maria's part, talking about immortality, talking about being a vampire, like nothing was really new. I know that there's only so much you can do with like, if you want to stay true to the vampire myth, there's not so much you can do, but I don't know, it just felt, but now, as of like 50%, I would say, Alice's story starts, and we are at 57% when we finally get a Lottie POV, a Charlotte POV. We got one teeny tiny one in the beginning and then never heard from her until 60%. But I'm feeling better. I just don't want to keep going back. I'm done with Maria. She's feeling very Addie LaRue, like girl who's immortal but doesn't have any self-growth. So I will see you, I'll see you when I check in next, okay? But it was rough, but I think we're gonna get better. Okay. I finished it. And I'm beginning to think perhaps I simply don't like stories about immortality anymore. Addie LaRue, this book we'll talk about in a second. What did I just, Our Infinite Fates didn't like I'm just kind of the immortality thing. Maybe I just don't like it. So here's the deal. I stand by the fact that Alice is the best. Sorry, we're having like crazy wind, by the way. So if you hear like a big whew, I'm near the window and it's insane. So yeah, Alice was the best, but I wonder if we actually counted the pages. I think she had the least amount of time, perhaps, because from the last time I spoke to you until the end of the book, it was pretty much Charlotte's POV, because she needed to tell us her story. I wish that this was structured maybe a little bit differently, I guess, because I was so bored of Maria, who changes her name eventually to Sabine. So we have Maria Sabine. I got really bored of her story. So I'm just like waiting for snippets of Alice. And then once we get some good snippets, then it becomes Charlotte telling us about her history, and I'm immediately bored of that. So I just wish we had more Alice, and I don't think Alice got like the real ending I wanted her to get. The end did take me by surprise, and I will give V.E. Schwab that. I think her premise, the way that this all tied together at the end, I thought was good and different and new, but the way that we got there was really something I've read before, like the classic vampires that are kind of soulless and just kill a lot of people and fall in toxic love and live a long time. There were so many pages of just different ways that they would kill people. It just got tired. And again, I felt like Sabine wasn't a new character. And once we get to Charlotte, who present day seemed like she could be really cool. She's got purple hair, okay? Purple hair. Need I say more? But once we get her backstory, she's the one from London in the 1800s. She's not a new character either. She's just like a girl who doesn't want to be a part of the social season because she's got a crush on her girl best friend. Like that didn't feel really new at all either. So it just felt, both Sabine and Charlotte's POVs felt really tired, and they didn't need to be that long because I know I get it. Like, I've read this kind of thing before. We could have made that so much shorter. But I think that V.E. Schwab just really likes writing different locations and times. We went to Spain, and then we had to go around France, and then we had to be in Italy for a bit, and then we were in London, and then we were in... Alice's POV was great. And the way that she did flashbacks and told Alice's story was really good. But the other two POVs I just thought were not interesting enough to be as long as they were. So I liked the ending. I liked the beginning. I liked the ending. So yeah, I'm thinking, I know that some people would like it. I think if you liked A Dowry of Blood, it gave me the same feelings as that, where I really liked the beginning, and then once we got to the like last half, I would say, it just felt kind of tired to me. If you really liked A Dowry of Blood, I feel like you might like this kind of storytelling that V.E. Schwab does with these two POVs. But for me, maybe not. For me, maybe not. I like V.E. Schwab when she's dealing with magic. I don't love V.E. Schwab when she's dealing with immortality, and I think she's really on an immortality kick. But do we want to see what our next read is? I have to return to my Libby. My Libby, because I have things I need to read and return. Okay, so this is YA. I'm gonna read The Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor. This is the same author as Hotel Magnifique, which I didn't read, and I know nothing about it. So I'm just going to read it straight from the Libby app, not Goodreads. I don't know what it's rated. So, New York Times bestselling author of Hotel Magnifique returns with this stunning, dark academic fantasy full of deadly magic and dangerous secrets, perfect for fans of divine rivals and a study in drowning. 7 years ago, Maeve Abinthy lost everything. Her world, her father, even her name. Desperate to escape the stain of her father's crimes, she lives under a fake name, never staying in one place long enough to put down roots. Then she receives a mysterious letter with 4 impossible words. Your father was innocent. To uncover the truth, she poses as an apprentice for the Otherwhere Post, where she'll be trained in the art of scriptomancy, a dangerous magic that allows couriers to enchant letters and deliver them to other worlds. But looking into her father's past draws more attention than she'd planned. Her secretive, her secretive, infuriatingly handsome mentor knows she's lying about her identity, and time is running out to convince him to trust her. Worse, she begins to receive threatening letters warning her to drop her investigation, or else. For Maeve to unravel the mystery of what happened 7 years ago, she may have to forfeit her life. Oh no. Okay, you know what? Thank God. This sounds all right. I was a little worried. During this time, I took a break from filming because I just wanted to focus on reading. I read Junie, which is an adult Good Morning America book club pick. And I've been a little skeptical, I guess, of book club picks, Reese's book club picks, and like all these things. To me, that signifies, I don't know, I just feel a little like, a lot of them haven't really hit. A lot of them have been very predictable. So I'm a little bit wary when I see a big book club pick. Also, they have to be like pretty safe for the masses. Not that I necessarily read edgy books, but like I would like a book that is a little risky in the story that it tells. And I feel like Good Morning America wouldn't pick a risky book. So with Junie, I was actually pleasantly surprised by it. I'll give a better review in my wrap up, but Junie, it's hard to say you enjoy a story as sad as that one, but it was very readable, very engaging. That was like a good sign. So this book is a young adult Good Morning America book club pick. Initially a little bit like, not sure, but it sounds good. So we'll see. I mean, famous last words. But let me read you, and this will be our last book, I think, for this reading vlog, because I know it's already getting long, but I have some great books that just came out, that just came in from the library. So the monthly wrap up should be good. Let me get to The Otherwhere Post opening. This is 400 pages. Is that a map? Get out of my way. Pop up, get out of my way. Oh, guys. I don't know if you can see it. There beeth a map of the city, and it's cute. Ooh, who drew this? Ooh, places called Eldermoss Hall, the Hall of Roots, the Groggery, the Scriptorium. There's 2 libraries. Oh, okay. Wait. I'm really happy. Ooh. And the chapter heading is a wax seal, but it looks really real. That's okay. Anyway, let me read you. The beginning. Maeve always carried the love letter with her. She knew every ink stroke by heart, that it took 23 seconds to unsheath the brittle paper from the envelope and read the tender words penned by her mother to her father ages ago. It was all she had left of her parents. Oh, uh-oh. She's a redhead too. What did we have? Did we have a redhead in? No, thank God. No redhead in Olivie Blake's book. I don't remember in The Starving Saints. Honestly, the nuns were bald. That's all I remember. Of course, V.E. Schwab hits you with Sabine, the redhead. And now we have Maeve. You just can't escape us. You can't escape us. All right, I'm going to put this down for a sec. I'm going to put some more hot water in my teapot. And I will catch up with you. But yeah, ooh, I think if you liked Addie LaRue, you will like, maybe not. I don't want to put that blanket statement out actually. But I think if you liked Dowry of Blood, you would like Bury Our Bones. How about that? That I can say with confidence. Okay? See you in a bit. Okay, this started out really rough, partially because of my own attention span issues currently, but I like the dynamic between the main guy and girl, but the world building is pretty clunky. I'll go into it in a second, but I feel like if they're gonna be together from now on, like them against the world, this is gonna be great. Just the setup, like I'm at 18%. It was rough going getting here in terms of how the magic works, her even getting into the academy, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Now it's great. I love a good shoulder shaking with silent laughter. So checking in, it is so rainy, so dark, so cold. I hate this. It's April 14th. Why? It snowed yesterday. Like, it's just not okay. Not okay. So I'm at exactly 50% of this book. I can taste the potential. I'm gonna be completely honest. A lot of this is my fault. I am just having a really hard time focusing lately. I have like different work stuff going on. My mind's in a bunch of different places. So not giving it my full attention, but it just seems like even though the magic system feels really cool, it also hasn't been explained super well. So I'm like a little confused all the time. Like I'm just kind of going along with it. Anytime they introduce like a new thing, I'm like, yeah, sure, that tracks. I will say I'm pretty much only reading it for Tristan. Maeve as a character is a little bit, I don't know. I don't really fully believe her emotions, even though we're with her the entire time. She kind of reacts in weird ways, but Tristan is just like a little cinnamon roll, and that's great. So I was thinking of DNFing it, but honestly, I'm not gonna be able to start another book anyway because of my attention span right now. So I think I'm gonna keep trying to read it tonight and or tomorrow, see how far I get, because I want to like it and there's enough mystery that I'm interested, but sadly, nothing has really grabbed me. It's been like, it's that feeling of a word on the tip of your tongue. It's like this story is on the tip of my tongue. Is the full effect of it is not hitting me. So yeah, I'm gonna continue, but so far, so not great, but I'll see. Maybe I don't know if I'll have time tonight, but yeah, tomorrow I will catch up with you and we will finish this. All right, see you then. Okay, folks, we did it. I finished the Otherwhere post, and I've got to say a lot of this book suffered from my own attention span. So I will say that this isn't a perfect review just because my mind wasn't 100% on the book. So the Otherwhere post, where did I leave you? I really liked the side characters actually. Well, specifically just her roommate, our main girl, whose name is Maeve. I really liked her roommate, Nan, and I really liked her mentor, Tristan. But the rest of it, I felt like the characters were really flip-floppy. Like, people were really mean, and then they just suddenly were the good guys. And
vice versa. I thought that some of the twists were kind of strange, or they were really obvious. And I just didn't quite understand Maeve. Like, I liked her when she was with Tristan, but other than that, her actions like kind of didn't match up, and we didn't really understand enough about her backstory to get the emotional impact, I thought, of the ending. Like, she's trying to solve this mystery about whether or not her father is innocent, and I just didn't know enough about the relationship with her father. But we never really know, like, prior to him being accused of murder, did she like it? Like, what was there? I don't know. So it was missing something for me. The magic system was very much like, I don't get it, but it sounds cool. So yeah, I think that Nan and Tristan really stole the show. But I will say, maybe if I was younger and I was paying more attention, I feel like this would have been a fine book. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't quite there. I forgot to mention one funny thing about the magic though, is that you can use scribing to like write things on your skin and certain things will happen. So they have something called a coffee scribing, which just helps you stay awake. But I'm like, why not caffeine? Like, why is it a coffee scribing? Why isn't it? Because it's only giving you the effects of caffeine. Like, I don't think you're getting, you know, acid reflux or whatever from drinking too much coffee. But yeah, there were just like certain things that I thought were kind of strange, and I felt like maybe like a younger audience wouldn't quite tag it as like, that's really bizarre. But for me, there were some things that I was like, well, that just doesn't work. There were also a couple weird, like some of the romantic scenes were a little odd, like a lot of them being not like forced proximity, but something similar to that. A lot of those things hinge on like spells gone wrong. So they're being kind of like bewitched to be together and like to feel desire for each other. It was just, there were some things that I was like, this feels like a 13-year-old's daydream, and it's a little weird, but yeah. So odd details, but Tristan was a good egg. So I also just started, we're ending this video here, guys, because I gotta. But I just started reading The Resurrectionist, and I have the strongest case of deja vu because I read Anatomy, a Love Story, which I didn't end up liking, unfortunately. I didn't like the ending. I couldn't believe the ending. An unfortunate miss for me, but I love the concept, the premise. So this is sort of like a grown-up version. I believe Anatomy, a Love Story was YA. I believe this is kind of an adult, darker version of that, and it's quite good. But for some reason I have even like the first page, I had to check if I had read the arc or something. Weird case of deja vu. But I'm 10% in. I read it this morning. So far so good. And yeah, I want to read Little Thieves, but I just don't have the time. Yeah, this was an interesting mixed bag, a little mix of a week. It's been more than a week. Sorry, don't worry. It's been a while. Gifted and Talented, I still stand by. I enjoy it, but I don't know why. The Starving Saints, I also enjoyed, but I think I can see people reading it and feeling like it's missing like the special sauce. And I would agree, like I wanted it to be just a little bit more, you know, but I had a really good time with it. Did I dive right into Bury Our Bones? I guess I did. And then for Bury Our Bones, yeah, unfortunately, I just wanted it to be about Alice. I think we could have shaved 100 or so pages. No offense to Charlotte, but you didn't need to tell your whole story, girl. Like, And then what else? The other rare post was kind of, but again, my brain was not there. So yeah, we are done with some of my anticipated reads. Let me know what you're reading. I have still a kind of crazy, once again, all my library holds came in at the same time. So I do have kind of a crazy TBR, but I would love to add to it as always. So let me know what you're reading and if you've read this. Yeah, Gifted and Talented is out now. Starving Saints coming out this summer, as is Bury Our Bones. But I know a lot of people got the arc for Bury Our Bones. So would love to hear your thoughts if you've read it. I will see you in our monthly wrap up. I've got some other good ones to talk about, and hopefully some good ones to come. So thank you for being here. I know this one was kind of, I don't know, I didn't give as many, I don't know, I feel like I gave too many thoughts, but also not enough. Thank you as always for joining me, whatever time I helped you pass, whether you're doing chores or you are crocheting or something like that. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me, and I will see you guys next week. All right, All right. Bye.